Hey, Dr. G here. I want to tell you about one of my favorite foods, and that's fried rice. I try to have fried rice at least every week. The reason fried rice is so good is it gives me a lot of complex carbohydrates that give me energy, and it also contains vegetables that contain any protein like eggs or meat, and it tastes great. In fact, it's one of the best tasting foods you could possibly have. So it's the rice carbohydrates, and it's coated with a healthy fat if you cook it in a healthy fat. And it's easy to make, and usually it's made from leftovers. Now remember, I'm into batch cooking, which means earlier in the week I had some rice with a different meal. I made an excessive amount so that I would have plenty left over for my fried rice for the week. So I have the white basmati rice here that is left over from a previous meal. And as you can see, I cooked a whole bunch of that. Now, you might say, Dr. Gerhauser, I thought you were a health food nut. Why are you having white rice, boy? Okay, here's why. Brown rice has phytates, which impair mineral absorption. Okay, we can all stand a little impaired mineral absorption, but I like to absorb all my minerals because I think almost every human being in our modern culture is minerally deficient. So I try to do everything in my power to get every mineral from my food into my body. So if I have white rice, an organic white rice, then I don't get the phytates that are in brown rice. So the key to making delicious fried rice is you need to cook everything that's not cooked. So anything that's left over, like the rice, is already cooked. If I have leftover meat that I want to chop up and it's already cooked, or vegetables that I've already cooked to chop up, then we can just throw them in. But if something's uncooked, like here I have broccoli, I have onions, I have garlic, and I'm going to chop up some cabbage. So I want to saute that in the oil before I add the rice so that it's cooked. And then the key with the rice is to coat the rice in the oil. You don't need to cook it because the rice is already cooked. And that's what makes fried rice good, is having the fat on the rice and then having the mixed in vegetables and proteins. And it's a complete meal all in one. Now, some people tell me, oh, I think fried rice is bland. Like those vegetables, they don't taste so good. Well, that's usually people that are eating Doritos or other processed foods. Do you realize the food companies have chemists sitting in a lab testing every chemical they can find, and there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different chemicals, and they test them all against our taste receptors, and they try to find something that stimulates our taste buds, and that's the artificial flavors. Of course, the well-known one is MSG. So all these artificial flavors have deadened our taste buds. Now here's an example of how that works. Let's say you bite into a grape and it tastes nice and sweet, and you go, oh, that's a nice sweet grape. I love that. Then you take a bite of a Hershey's bar. And then you go back and have another grape. It tastes sour, doesn't it? Well, why is that? It's because the overpowering effect of refined sugar onto our taste buds completely ruins our normal taste, our normal natural level of taste. Now, we crave sweets, or we have a desire for sweets, because in nature, sweets are a fleeting thing. If you think about it, if there wasn't all these Safeway stores or modern grocery stores, and we were out in nature, what is sweet out in nature? You might find a beehive with some honey, there's some sweet. You might find a fruit that has become ripe. Now, fruit is only sweet when it's tree ripened. That might last a week or two, and then it falls off the tree. And as soon as it's ripe, guess what? All the animals attack it. So unless you're there first, you're probably not going to get anything. So man has a strong desire for sweet. But now we have the grocery store with the aisle of candy bars, the aisle of soda pop, and of course the aisle of chips with MSG and salt. All these things overpower our taste buds. So you've got to take a step back. You got to stop putting all this junk and artificial flavors and artificial stimulants into your body. And then guess what? After a couple of weeks, the fried rice will taste good. Like it'll taste wonderful. Okay, getting back to fried rice. What do we use for the fat, the oil? Okay, we could use butter, lard, coconut oil, vegetable oils. The problem with the vegetable oils is too much omega-6 fat. The omega-6 fats are not bad in and of themselves, but our processed food is loaded with them. So if you test your red blood cells for how much fats are in your body, test the red cell membranes, most people are overloaded with omega-6, and there's a lot of health implications there. So I recommend avoiding most of the commercial seed oils and vegetable oils, and that's because processed foods, if you look at the label, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, bad oils, omega-6s. So I recommend no corn oil, no high omega-6 oils. What I like to use is butter. One thing about butter, has to be organic. And the reason it has to be organic, if it's not organic, guess what? The cow's been eating genetically modified food. It's been shot up with antibiotics. It's been shot up with hormones. And it's probably living in deplorable conditions. So you've got to have organic butter every single time. All right, so we heat up the butter. We cook the vegetables. Now, a tip on the broccoli, the stem is woody, so we peel off the wood. We save the wood for our compost. And then that inner, nice, beautiful broccoli stem, we slice up to cook, to put into our rice, and it tastes wonderful after your taste buds are back to their natural state, which we want to get all of our taste buds back there. So we simmer the vegetables till they're cooked, then we add the rice in small amounts so that it gets coated with the fat, whatever fat we're cooking with, whatever oil we're cooking with, and then we add some soy sauce. That's what makes fried rice brown. It adds a good flavor. Now, the thing about soy sauce, about 90% of the crop in the United States of soy is genetically modified. So soy has to be organic. And soy has to be fermented for at least 90 years before you eat it. Maybe not 90 years, but it should be fermented a long enough time to remove some of the anti-nutrients. And that is a way that humans can outsmart nature and get some of these anti-nutrients out of our foods. So a little soy sauce is good. Doesn't take long to cook. I know it takes long for me to talk about it, but it probably not nearly as long as I'm sitting here talking as it would actually take to cook this stuff. So please, start having fried rice on a regular basis. This is Dr. G. Thanks so much for watching.